Hi, and welcome back to Times Square. Today, I'm your host, Greg Rowlett, and I'm here with Dr. Stephen Freeman, a dentist from St. Augustine, Florida, all the way up to New York City to talk about some of the incredible things you're doing. You have this really cool new concept. You have a new book. I mean, things are just really happening, so I'm excited to have you here.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, first off, thank you so much for having me. You know, New York City, Times Square, this place is amazing. So, we're excited
beautiful
to be
day.
here.
We brought some great Florida weather to New York City today. So, I know a little bit about what you got going on, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story and who you are and why are we here today?
Absolutely. Well, you know, as far as where I start out at is, I graduated dental school. My wife and I moved down to St. Augustine and opened up Elite Smiles. And when we opened up the office, it was small. It was a really small space. It was beautiful, but it was small. So as we started to grow, we realized that we needed more space. And as we were looking at that, I didn't want just more space. I wanted to create an experience for the patients that came to our office. And so that was really kind of the whole inspiration of what it is that we designed the whole office around. And I really want to just give them something they really couldn't find anywhere else in dentistry. So at that point in time, with the new office, it created a tremendous amount of success and took us down the path of that new book and then coaching, consulting dentists from all over the world. So it's been great.
I love it. I want to go back just a little bit more and talk about why dentistry. Why did you feel a calling to get into dentistry and why do you love helping patients, have that healthy smile?
Absolutely. I think really there's almost two parts to where my career went, and it starts off with, I think everyone thinks, hey, my parents, thanks for, coaching me down this success and all those things, but my father was an oral surgeon before he retired, and so I was around clinical dentistry my whole time growing up. But where my career really kind of pivoted was much more when I met two of my mentors, one being a guy named Jay Geyer and another named Dan Kennedy. And they really helped me focus, again, on the experience that the patients had or the guests that come into our office are able to have. And that's really changed where I look at things.
It kind of lends me into the next question, kind of the state of the industry. Why do you think experience matters so much? Because you think of the dentist, you don't really think of an experience. You think of the poster on the wall that's got the bleeding gums, and you're like, oh my goodness, I gotta, So why is experience so important to you?
Well, when I look at it as this, dentistry is really at a crossroads at this point in time, and there's something called the corporate takeover of dentistry. And what's happening is the baby boomer dentists are retiring, and corporations are buying up all these offices, and the public has no idea this is happening. So these corporations own the offices, and they bring in a young dentist, and they work for a year or two, and then the patient or the dentist leaves. So that really creates a situation where they're focusing much more on the bottom line rather than what it is that the patient goes through. So I don't want to focus on the bottom line. I want to create an experience for the patient so that they keep on coming back, and it's really worked out well.
Well, it's that feeling of, am I just a cog in the machine? Am I just another patient for you versus do you really care about me?
Absolutely. So that's really what we want to focus on.
Yeah, and so one of the things with this new office that you're building that experience right into it. You were telling me earlier that you're putting a coffee shop in the middle of a dental practice.
Cool,
I mean, where does ideas like that come from? But why do you think that that's important instead of just being, it's a gimmick, right?
Well, I mean, what do people love now? I mean, they love going to Starbucks. They love going to the coffee shop. And we thought about that whole concept of Starbucks talks about being the third place that you go to, work, home, Starbucks, that's where you go. So we really wanted to create an environment that when you walked in, you almost said, am I in the right place? Am I supposed to be here? Just because it's so different than anything else that they walked into. And I think we've achieved that. So
well, hopefully you can make it a place that people want to go to.
Absolutely, right. So how many times you hear, I've got to go to the dentist? I was actually just sitting in a restaurant the other day and she's just like, got to go to the dentist now, and rolled her eyes. And it's never that great of an experience, but we try to elevate it as best we possibly can.
I know you get to work with hundreds of families and a lot of different folks, but are there any stories that kind of stick out to you of people that you've worked with or people that have come in and you're just like, I'm proud to do what I do because of the results I help my clients with?
Absolutely. We saw a young lady, this was a couple years ago, we saw a young lady, she had her wedding coming up in about 6 months. She had some issues with her smile that she went and had a bunch of different consults with other dentists, and they said they were going to have to do a bunch of root canals and maybe remove some teeth and all sorts of things.
And that sounds amazing. I'm so excited.
Right before my wedding. So she gave us a short timeline, but we were able to do something called 6-month smiles for her that allowed us to recreate her smile in just 4 months. No root canals, no teeth coming out. Simple, painless process that really gave her an amazing smile, and she had a great wedding, and she sent us all of her wedding photos and whatnot, and it really was just incredible to see that transformation in such a short amount of time.
And it makes you feel good that something that you did produced this incredible result that she'll remember for the rest of her life.
Absolutely, it's outstanding.
That's really cool.
We're really excited.
I got a question. It's kind of the fun one, right?
Okay.
And it's that question: if you could travel back in time and, tell your younger self some, a piece of advice or something that you wish you knew back then, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, and I'm going to probably start to sound a little bit like a broken record, but when I first got out of dental school, I said to myself, if I could just be the best dentist that I could possibly be, that would be enough. So, I just took lots of continuing education courses and just tried to become the best dentist I could be, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't what I needed to do. And so, again, change and pivot to the point of becoming an experience that the patient can have versus just focusing on that, because any dentist can do an acceptable filling, but what do you get along that way? That's the difference, and that's why they would need to come to
I think the public really feels that way as well. It's just like, well, any dentist should be able to clean my teeth, right?
Absolutely.
But do I want to go to that dentist? Do I want to tell my friends about that dentist? You're like, my dentist, Dr. Steve, like he just wrote a book and he's been on the TV and he's doing this cool stuff and he's got a coffee shop in here. Now they want to be a part of this as opposed to that guy at dinner the other night saying, oh, got to go to the dentist.
We always talk about trying to create raving fans, and that's what we want, especially with the advent of social media. We want to do the best we can to have folks out there and talking about it. So absolutely.
Well, so if people want to learn more about Elite Smiles, they want to learn about how they can get the book, all that fun stuff, where can they go to learn more?
Absolutely. So, we obviously have our phone number, 904-940-3933, but our website's elitesmilesdentistry.com, and there you can get in contact with us and go ahead and request a copy of our book, and we're really excited about it.
I love it. elitesmilesdentistry.com. Dr. Steve, thanks so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
And we'll be back in just a minute with more from Times Square today.